What's up, guys? My name is Brandon, and welcome back to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live video of the concerts that we get. We posted 2 show thoughts, one for Polyphia and the other for Dance Gavin Dance, and we also posted a new interview with Foreign Son, so check that out. As well as we also posted most of Covet's set, so if you want to check that out, feel free to. Also, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does mean a lot. We are very close to 300 subscribers, so if you could subscribe to us, that would be amazing. Also, if I sound a little off, it's because I have a cold and I have a stuffy nose, and I'm just trying to get over a sickness, so, but I wanted to get this out. So, with that being said, tonight we're going to be talking about Common Ground's new record, No Sleep. So we actually have done an interview with them about, I'd probably say about a month ago now, since it's been released. But I actually found out about these guys through my friend Sam. Shout outs to you, you're the best. But they came on probably a few months ago since I recorded that. But I was really interested in checking out what their music's like. I got to hear the first track, Something Greater, and then obviously which they redid for this record, and then the new track, new single, I don't want to curse, but I guess it's Fuck Growing Up. But pretty much they had this sort of pop punk vibes to them, and I purposefully stayed away from most of the singles. I know they released Something Greater and Fuck Growing Up, but I wanted to purposefully stay away from it, so I had clean thoughts, a little bit of like how I would go about each track and stuff like that. So we'll go into the first track, which is Fuck Growing Up. This was the second single that they released, obviously Something Greater being the first single. And this is the first track off the record. I really like this sort of cassette, sort of tape, sort of style intro. I think that's really cool. It very much has this nostalgic feel to it, at least in my opinion. First off, like I said, I don't think I didn't want to listen to these tracks. I wanted to kind of have fresh thoughts in my mind of how I would perceive the record and stuff like that. Definitely the big thing that surprised me, at least, was that Mikey has this really incredible high range, very reminiscent to me of like Kellen Quinn, which isn't a bad thing, but it's definitely something to get used to when you're listening to the songs. It's very, I wouldn't say most people would say it's a little odd, but at the same time, I feel like if you give it a few listens, then, I feel like it comes out a little bit more. And I really do enjoy it because, again, it's kind of like a switch up from what I typically know. Instrumentally, I really enjoyed it. I think Dakota does an awesome job on the drums, and I think the rest of the guys in the group, the bassist and the guitar player, I think they really hold it down. It's very much nostalgic, sort of pop punk to me. Reminds me of bands like State Champs, Mayday Parade, etc. Those sorts of bands. I know Mayday Parade's not as much pop punk as much as maybe like alternative rock or like pop rock or something like that. I don't want to offend people with that, but definitely has those sorts of vibes to me. Also, I feel like this track definitely has this sort of upbeat vibe to it, which I really enjoy. I'm not saying that most pop punk tracks are sad. However, I think that that's the really strong point of this track and just pop punk in general, is that they mostly have those sort of upbeat vibes to it. But really think it was a good solid track to start off with. So we'll move it into track number 2, which is Nights All Alone. Really liking the clean guitar intro. Like I've mentioned in previous album reviews, I really focus a lot on the guitar parts. It's something that I play guitar, so it's something that I gravitate towards. I think the lead guitar work is really nice as well. I think it adds a nice little bit of touch to each track individually. Really liking the drumming a lot in this track. I think Dakota did an awesome job of kind of adding his sort of own influence into the tracks in general, which is obviously what an album is supposed to do. Vocally, I feel like Mikey, I think he does an awesome job, but at the same time, I feel like there really isn't too much diversity in what he does. Particularly, I feel like it's very high, obviously a high range vocals, but I feel like there's no like lows, like lower sort of vocals or like mid range vocals. I feel like it's very one note, and I feel like that's what doesn't really get me those vibes too much, just because it feels very one noted, and that's could be a bad thing, that could be a good thing, but to me, I feel like what makes a really solid track is that if it's diverse, and it just to me, it just didn't have any diversity to it, so um, that's why I have to kind of knock it down a little bit. I like this sort of breakdown esque part in the towards the end of the track. I think that's definitely something unique to them. I know Dakota adds a little bit of double bass in there, which is definitely an interesting move on his part. And just I think it adds a different flair to the overall band. So we'll move it into track number 3, which is Something Greater. This was, like I mentioned earlier, the first single that they released, and I would have to say that this one's my favorite. I had listened to it previously when I was first finding out about the band, just because I wanted to get a mental note on how they would sound. But I really like that they took it up a notch in this track, particularly. I really like this sort of ambient intro that they have vocally. It's got some really cool parts in the beginning. I think they really did an awesome job with this chorus. It's very much catchy, and it does remind me a lot of what a typical pop punk band should sound like, and so I really enjoy that. I really enjoying the melody lines as well. I think they were created very appropriately, very well, very much in Mikey's range without a doubt. And I really do like the bridge a lot in this track. I think Mikey's got an incredible falsetto, but I also feel like I mentioned earlier, he's only going up in terms of vocally, not like either mid range or something like that. So again, to me, it's a little bit more about vocal diversity, at least for the next record. But overall, I really enjoyed that. So we'll move it into track number 4, which is No Sleep, the title track off the EP. I'm liking the sort of distant-y sort of drums at the beginning, and then they kind of come into focus after the intro. I feel like, again, Dakota does a really awesome job at the drums. That's something that I don't typically pick out, but for me, in a lot of these tracks, I really enjoyed the drumming on this. I think it was super solid. Um, I do like the vocal layering in the chorus. I think they do a really awesome job at that as well. And I just feel like, to me, it just doesn't have that pull to it. I don't know if it's not that it's bad, and it's not that it's really good. I think it's just kind of atypical. That's the word. It just feels very what you would expect. But I think nonetheless, I think they did a really awesome job. So we'll move it into track number 5, the last track, which is I Promise I'll Be Okay. This one I really think they did an awesome job with because they switched it up. Is one of my favorite tracks off the record as well. I really like the guitar and vocal combo towards the beginning, intro and verses and stuff like that. I really enjoy like when bands do stripped down versions of a track. I don't think they'll ever do like a band version of this track. But I just really like the overall ambience of this whole track, and I feel like this one they really knocked it out of the park. And I think that if Mikey added a lot of his range that he did on this track to other tracks, I feel like this would be much more of a solid record in my opinion. I think it definitely shows a sort of softer side of this band, which is awesome because I do enjoy that, and I know that they reference Mayday Parade a lot, so that's definitely some band that I hearken back to when I listen to this track in general, just instrumentally. I think it's a really good way to end the EP. I love when bands kind of take a sort of softer note to it. But I think overall with this record, we'll get into the pros and cons, but overall, I think they did a really good job for it being their first record, but I definitely feel like there are some issues that need to be handled absolutely for the next record. So we'll move it into the pros and the cons. I think it's I don't know, it's a very safe record, and I don't want to kind of step on people's toes because that's not what I'm about, but it definitely doesn't have this sort of vocal diversity that I would expect from other bands in the same genre, like State Champs, Mayday Parade, The Main. I'm trying to think of other pop punk bands, Knuckle Puck, Real Friend, stuff like that. They have things that have this sort of pull to them, whether it be vocally, whether it be instrumentally, whether it be something that like that. Um, I just feel like vocally Mikey does a really great job. However, he doesn't show a lot of range. Now, that's the big selling point for me, or big point that I want to point out, is that there just really isn't that diversity to it. Obviously, the last track I think vocally was the best track off the record, but it just doesn't have this overall diversity that I expect from bands in the same caliber, in the same genre. Obviously, this is their first record, and they have, much to learn from the next one. But I feel like vocally, it doesn't feel diverse enough. It just feels very one noted, very, very. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. And if he definitely went a little bit different into different ranges, either, I mean, obviously he has a very high range to begin with. So maybe if he did like some mid-level vocals, or even low vocals too. But I feel like there definitely needs to be a little bit more of that, just diversity in it, because after a few times listening through, it became very stale, at least in my opinion. So vocally, I feel like it needs a little bit of work, but fine tuning. But I think for the next record, if they definitely take these critiques into hand, I feel like they will definitely create a more solid record without a doubt. So my overall rating for this record, I'm gonna have to give it a 7.8 out of 10. I think it's definitely one to check out without a doubt. I always try to give my support and my love to any band that comes on here and lets me review their stuff. But I definitely feel like this album in general needs a little bit work, and I think it's definitely a stepping stone for them. It's not that it was bad, but it wasn't like the best thing that I've heard this year without a doubt. So I think he's kind of like in that okay category, but I definitely feel like it needs some work, it needs some fine tuning, and then after that, I feel like they will definitely be a monumental band in my opinion. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Common Grounds EP. I think it comes out the 9th of March or 10th. I'm not entirely sure. But I know it comes out very soon. It actually comes out this week. So definitely go pick it up if you can get the chance to. But I think overall it's a solid record, but I definitely will expect more for the next record without a doubt. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. We are only a few away from 300, so that would be amazing if you could show us some support. And if you enjoy our stuff a lot and you want to pick up some merch, we all have a link to our merch store. We're currently running a 15% off code, so if you'd like to save some money, definitely go pick something up. So with that being said, my name is Brandon. Thank you for checking out our review, and I hope to be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.